episode in our webinar series, A Day in the Life of. Today, we are very, very excited to have a financial advisor on board, Wesley Birch. Welcome, Wesley, and thank you so much for taking some time out of your evening to talk to us and our audience members today.
Thank you, Priya. Glad to be here. Excited about the opportunity to chat to some younger people and share my pearls of wisdom. Thank you. Thanks again for the opportunity.
No, it's fantastic. I see we've got quite a few people in the audience, and we had some sort of questions earlier on that were sent to the team from Gradlinc. I think there's going to be a lot of questions with regard to students wanting to know how should they handle their finances, even from university, just so that they are in a place of comfort when they inevitably get to our young old age of 40 something, Wesley.
Our young
Um,
old age.
our young old age. I stand by that. But let's get started at the beginning because that's always a great place to start. Wesley, what did you study?
So after school, I started off studying psychology. I did a 3-year psychology degree at the University of Pretoria. Decided that was not what I wanted to do with my life, then went into the financial advising side of it. So I worked for a few different corporates, mainly in the healthcare space. Then branched out to Momentum and decided about 8-9 years ago that I was done in corporate and wanted to focus on my own future and my own wealth, and started my own business and haven't looked back a day since.
That is so fantastic. I have 1,000 questions already for you. Let's just start with, the first one. So you studied psychology, you finished your degree, and then something told you that you wanted to very much pivot. Could you tell us a little bit about what it is that made you feel that you needed to go in a different direction?
I didn't see myself being the traditional psychologist that and obviously this is not something that you'd know beforehand, having not studied psychology yet, but going through the process of studying the degree, I just realized this is not what I want to do with the rest of my life. I don't want to sit down and listen to everybody's problems and then try and help them from there. That's really not where I wanted to be with my life. So I had an opportunity to go and work for a scheme back in the day called Resolution Health, and I've just found a love for the industry and a love for the advice process and helping people from that point of view of making sure that they have the right benefits and the right investments and that type of stuff in place to make sure that they are properly looked after in the future.
Yeah. So you say something really important. Something told you that you needed to go in a different direction. Interestingly enough, it's still advice, but it's more financial advice.
Yeah,
Let's
I suppose there are quite a few similarities there, but
There are
it,
some
in my
similarities.
mind, at least, it's very different. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's financial advice versus mental and emotional
Mm,
advice. It's chalk and cheese, basically.
there we go.
So tell me, so you started working in the corporate environment, Resolution Health, indicating sort of short-term medical
Short-term medical and
advice.
life insurance. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you could elaborate a little bit on the whole corporate journey that you took before you started your company.
So, corporate journey started off as a consultant, working with brokers, making sure that they understand the product, that they're properly selling the product, and translating that into new business for the specific company that I was working for. We focused on medical aid, life insurance, and short-term insurance. So, I mean, everybody knows what medical aid is. Short-term insurance being your car and household, and life insurance being your death, disability, income protection, and critical illness benefits. Worked for them for close on 5 years as a consultant. Then went into sales management for them. So I was one of the national sales managers for Ability back in the day. That took me all around the country. It was a fantastic time of my life. I traveled the country on somebody else's dime, saw a lot of the country, met a lot of incredible people, have friendships that I still hold to this day through that process. And then decided that it was time for me to start expanding my horizon, and that was the reason for the move to Momentum, to specifically gain interest or experience rather in the investment world. Um, Spent 2 years working with Momentum, again with a fantastic group of people, and learned a hell of a lot, and then went out on my own.
That is fantastic. That's quite a journey. So I've already got questions coming up from the audience, but before we get into them, tell me, Wesley, so now you have your own company, you're the founder of Codefis Financial Advisory.
That's it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. What is a day in the life of you as the founder of the company?
So the day in the life of a financial advisor, it's very client-centered. So there's obviously preparation that needs to be done for any client meeting that you're going to have, and that translates through to any industry that you're in. I have a saying that I was taught by one of my managers back in the day rather, at Agility. That victory loves preparation, and without the actual preparation, you're never going to get anywhere that you want to get in life. And that's true for business. So there's a lot of preparation that goes into seeing clients. It's stacks and stacks of paperwork and files that we build before we go and see a client with regards to any product that they're interested in.
Yeah.
So it's a portion of the day is spent on preparing for the meetings, and then the vast majority of the day is really spent out on the road seeing the various clients. Some of them you would be seeing just for a medical aid or just for a short-term insurance policy. Others you'd be seeing for the full suite, and you'd be talking to them about their retirement savings, their discretionary money that they're saving, and their life and disability covers and that type of stuff.
Yeah. So that it's interesting that you're talking about that, because this actually ties in with one of the questions that we have from the audience. I'm just going to pull it up here and read it for you. Lisa would like to know, what is the number one piece of financial advice you would give to someone under the age of 25?
There's two pieces of advice I'd give to somebody under the age of 25. I know you're asking for one, but I'm going to give you two.
Please go ahead.
The first thing is, your most important asset that you have is your ability to earn an income. So an income protection benefit is seriously important to have in place, because the reality is if that you are in a car accident and you are unable to work, whether it be for a period of time or for an extended period of time or the rest of your life, you're stuck up shit creek without a paddle. So make sure that you really you have the right benefits in place to protect your ability to earn an income. The second piece of advice is, and I'll use the quote from one of the latest Coronation ads: good things come to those that don't wait to invest. Compounded interest is a fantastic thing, and it's just growth on growth on growth. So don't be the guy that says, I'm still young, I'll save for retirement later, because the reality is it takes a hell of a long time to try and catch up, if you ever are able to catch up. If the longer you start investing. So the earlier you start saving for retirement, the better position you'll be in at retirement. And don't think that you only have 300 or 400 Rand a month, it's not going to make a difference. It is going to make a difference, because double that, for every 6 or 7 years you're invested, and you'll go see what the difference it actually makes at the end of the term.
No, that's very true. You've got to start these things. We all sort of assume you need to do this when, you finish university and then you're just sort of like jumping into the working environment. But every little bit that you actually can invest from as young as you're able to is very, very important. Wesley,
Indeed.
just to jump onto the whole word invest, we actually have a very, very nice question from another audience member that ties into this. So Andrew would like to know, how can one get into being an investor?
I assume Andrew's question is more saying that he wants to start investing and trading, and not saying that he wants somebody to invest money for him.
Yes.
So when you're a trader, the vast majority of what gets done when you're trading is actually research. If you're buying, let's use Naspers as an example, you've got to know why you're buying it. And you're not going to know why you're buying it unless you know what is the management structure, what are the deals that they're working on, what is the forward, what's the outlook for the company going forward. There's a lot that you need to be able to answer to before you can say, I'm going to be buying Naspers or BAT or whatever it is. You wouldn't want to be buying a company that's going into a retrenchment process, because obviously they're not hitting their targets. They're going to be having cash flow issues. and you're not going to know that unless you do the research. So if you want to become an investor and you want to take it seriously, research is one of the main things you need to be able to do. Research the company, know it from top down, from the bottom up, and yeah, that will tell you whether it's a good buy or not.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And it ties in with what you're saying. As a financial advisor and as the founder of your company, you say that you start your day by doing research, and only thereafter you're actually in a position to consult with the clients in the best way possible. So, sort of relating to that, let me take this off stage for a second. We have another question from the audience who wants to know, how difficult was it to make a career change? I'd like to turn that question a little bit on its head there, because you did study one thing, and the impression I'm getting from you is you had sort of like while you were in the corporate environment, sort of like maybe an integrated working program at the corporates that you worked at. But how difficult was it for you to make that change? What was put in place by the corporate to make it easier for you?
So, with regards to the corporate, I studied my first 3-year degree. I was a full-time student. I went to Tux every day. You do the study thing. From there, when I started working, one of the perks of working for one of a bigger corporate is that they always do have learnership programs, and
Yeah.
they helped me. They put me through a wealth management degree. So I actually studied further. I did a wealth management degree. I did my regulatory exams 1 and 5, which are the exams that you have to do you have to pass them in order to be a representative or a key individual within a practice. So I did both of those.
Yeah.
With regards to the change of career path, going from the corporate space within momentum into owning my own business, that was actually not as difficult as what I thought it was going to be, and it came down to just, I think, pure determination. This is what I wanted to do. I
Yeah.
wanted to run my own financial advisory. I wanted to make a difference in people's lives, and I didn't want to be in corporate anymore. So you wake up, you get going, you see your clients, you make your phone calls, you just do everything you have to do,
Yeah.
and do it to the best of your ability. And I think then things will just generally carry on going the way they're supposed to go. So yeah.
So that makes me think. So you say the word determination, and the back of my mind, considering our audience members, a lot of university students, and we speak a hell of a lot about soft skills. So determination made me think about soft skills. When as a financial advisor and also as the founder of your company, what advice do you have for students in as far as soft skills go that they should start developing from now?
You've got to be able to read the room. There's no point in trying to flog a dead horse, and whoever you're speaking to will tell you very quickly if you're heading in the right direction, or if you're going completely off topic and actually wasting your time. So don't get so caught up in what you're busy doing that you don't read the person that you're speaking to and don't see they're actually not interested in what you're saying, or you're veering off onto a completely different topic.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Sort of, sort of having the perspective of who it is that you're speaking to. I definitely agree. That's an important one. We've got another question. Like I told you, busy audience. We've got quite a few people who have signed in today, Wesley.
That's cool.
So the question has to do with growth opportunity within the industry of financial advisors. What are the directions that students can take if they want to go the route of financial advisors, and what's the trajectory look like?
I actually think there's a massive opportunity for young people to get into our industry, because
Yeah.
the reality is that we have a very aging sort of the base of financial advisors is aging. There's a lot more barriers to entry into our industry than what there were previously, as the FSCA has been trying to professionalize our environment a lot more. So there's very few young people that are actually coming into being financial advisors, and you often see, 60, 70-year-olds still working in their practice, going out, seeing clients, doing what they need to do, but very few young people coming in. whether it's because they don't want to take the risk of starting their own business, or the barriers that are put in place, like your regulatory examinations, and you have to have a finance orientated degree.
Yeah.
But there's huge opportunity in it for people that are interested in going this route.
Why do you think that is? I mean, aside from the exams are necessary. We can't have people handling our finances if they can't do the finances. But like, from your perspective, I would love to hear your opinion on this. You're saying that, the barriers to entry exist. It's an older market. However, I have a lot of students in the audience right now asking questions. So what do you think we're doing wrong about this?
I think it boils down to people's uncertainty of where do you find business. It's all good and well to say I'm starting my business now, but where do I find a client base in which to market my clients to? um, that is a difficult hurdle to overcome. So for anybody out there that's interested in pursuing a degree in this, you've always got the tied agencies that you could go to. You could work directly for Momentum or Discovery. Sanlam and Liberty also have fantastic tied agencies that you could reach out to, where they actually provide you with leads and clients that you can go and see. Alternatively, you could approach some of the smaller companies, specifically in the medical aid space, and you could ask them, are they willing to pass on any leads that they may have to you, and build your business off of that. As a matter of interest, that's how I actually started my business. I approached quite a well-known scheme, and I said to them, this is what I want to do. I want to go out and start my own business. Would you be willing to provide me with the details of people that phone into the scheme and ask for coverage from you? And they were happy to do it. So I got on average 15 leads from them a week, and that kept me very busy. And yeah, you go in, you do what you've got to do, and you cross sell into your client base.
It goes back to what you were saying about determination. You've got to read the room, you've got to speak to the right people, and you've got to be slightly stubborn and determined,
Damn
and
straight.
do
And
it.
believe in yourself, man. Believe in yourself. You know what you want to do, you know what you're capable of, so go out and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a question in the audience with regard to internships to become a financial advisor. So you obviously said that you did a learnership program when you transitioned over from psychology into financial advisory. Are there internships available with all of these schemes? You've
Yeah,
mentioned some
certainly,
names
yes.
there.
The bigger companies like Momentum Discovery, they always have these types of vacancies open, and realistically, they want to give the young guy the opportunity to come in and see if this is something that they would be able to work with. So you go in, you might have a job for a month or 2 months while it's part of the learnership, and then they sort of cherry pick the top candidates out of it. So if you get an opportunity like that, you go in, you put your best foot forward, you make sure that you are one of the top guys, and they won't turn a blind eye on you. They will make sure that you get full-time employment after.
How are they getting these internships, Wes? Is it easier if you know a guy, or is it go through your university? Is it sit on Google, sit on LinkedIn? What's your advice? Where
Yeah,
are they?
sit on Google, sit on LinkedIn, and go check their websites out, because it's always under their careers, their careers banner on their website. You can go check there. There will be
Yeah.
plenty options for you.
Okay. So you spoke about competitive, and I'm sorry, guys in the audience, I'm really trying to get to all of your questions here. But there's a question here, and how can I gain experience to make myself more competitive? So if I could just again, get into this a little bit from a different angle. I said the word internship, and the chat went a little bit crazy. So now you find this internship on a website or on LinkedIn or wherever it is you're looking, and you want to stick out as the right candidate, that they're going to look at. How can they make themselves look more competitive?
A professionally drafted CV never hurts. There's nothing worse than getting a one-page CV that you got spelling mistakes and incorrect
Oh,
formats on, because it puts a bad impression off the bat.
yeah.
So go and do some research on it. Google what a professional CV looks like. Remember, guys, we're not in America. We don't want a resume. We want a professional CV. Do the research, check that out. Excuse me, and then apply. You might not be successful for 2, 3, or 4 positions that you apply for, but
Yes.
the 4th, 5th, you could be successful. So apply to as many of them as you can, and don't be afraid to play the market. There are many companies out there that do these types of learnerships, that have these opportunities. Go out, check. I mean, I keep mentioning momentum and discovery, but don't forget about guys like Sanlam, Liberty, um, Old Mutual. There's plenty of them. Go out,
Yeah.
check them out. They all have very, very good onboarding processes. They're all going to teach you a hell of a lot about our industry. There's a reason why after 100, 110 years, a company like Sanlam is still relevant because they know what
Yeah.
they're doing. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, go check them out. You've got nothing to lose.
Yeah, no, that's true. I feel like the overlying theme for our conversation today is determination. So I'm
Damn
going to
straight.
add grit and stubbornness. So we have a student who would like to know, and this one's bringing a bit of a smile to my face. Sureshni would like to know, if you, Wesley, had to hire graduates right now, what would you be looking for in a candidate?
Mathematics would be obviously a very important subject to see on your matric results. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing something like accounting. A lot of what we do does fall down onto simple accounting. When you're doing a financial needs analysis for a client, there's a lot of accounting principles that we include in that.
Yeah.
And I would like to see, where you going with your life. Is there something that you started studying or that you want to start studying? It's not going to help you tell me that you want to go study to be a millwright and now you want to come and be a financial advisor. It's two very, very different things. So I'd also like to see a short description of yourself where you're describing yourself as an outgoing person, a people orientated person, because that's what we do. We work with people, and don't forget, people buy people, not products.
Yeah.
That's very, very true. So I want to see you saying in a nutshell, I guess, you're outgoing, you're a people orientated person, you can work on your own, you don't need somebody to hold your hand and tell you what to do, and then mathematics and accounting.
Mathematics and accounting.
Mm.
What about actuary? Where do you stand on that if someone's an actuary?
Well, I mean,
Do
actually,
they
yeah, that would sort of, I guess, fall under mathematics for me.
counting?
But yeah, an actuary most certainly. I think there's very little you could teach an actuary about mathematics and the
Fair
principles
enough.
thereof. They would definitely be able to get involved in something like this.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Mm.
It was very interesting for me how much emphasis that you put on the personality or the type of person that you would prefer to hire, sort of outgoing, works well with other people. I recently read a very interesting book about how introverts are actually the most outgoing people.
Well,
Do you
maybe I'm
think
introverted then.
I do believe that everyone has a little bit of sort of an extrovert and an introvert, but
Mm.
do you think I don't want let's move away from the words extrovert and introvert for a second, but do you think that you have to be overly outgoing to be in your industry? What if you're slightly more subdued in
No, I think it's a
personality?
fine line. A completely over the top person that's completely outgoing is just going to end up annoying half the people that he sees. So I
Yeah.
think it's a fine line of being introverted versus extroverted or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But you also can't have like I said, you can't be completely outgoing. You also can't have the flip side where you walk into somebody's office to come and see them about something or their home, and you've got nothing to say and you're too scared to speak. Um, who's gonna do business with you? You
Oh, no,
need to
no.
be comfortable speaking to people.
Yeah, absolutely. So read the room, like you said,
Exactly.
it's very, very important. I mean, whatever industry you're in, if you can't read the room, you're in a little bit of a situation for sure.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So we have another question relating to finances.
Hmm.
Let me pull this one onto stage. This one, Lisa would like to know, how often should one consult with a financial advisor in order to achieve one's financial goals?
So, in my practice at least, every single client gets a review date. We phone the client every 6 months. So we're phoning our clients and we're saying to them, you haven't spoken to Wesley in the last 6 months. Are you happy? Is there something you want to discuss with him? Is there something you want advice on? Yes or no. Some clients will say, I'm happy. We don't need to chat. Others will say, please send him out. I want to chat to him. And it's a mixed bag when it comes to what clients' needs are. My
Yeah.
personal opinion, once a year. You need to be seeing your financial advisor once a year, um, to, for various reasons. But when it comes specifically to investment goals, not all funds remain relevant, and you might need to switch out of one fund into another to ensure that you are staying up to par with where you need to be with your investment goals. So once a year minimum.
Okay, but this doesn't only apply to short term. Hey, this would also be your long term insurance, like sort of keep an eye on things, have an idea, and speak to your financial advisor at least once a year.
Certainly, yes, because you could have bought a house and all of a sudden your needs have changed, or you've had a child, or whatever it is. You may have had quite a big raise at work, and you want to make sure that your income is secured should something happen to you. So it's not just on the investment side. No, it's important to make sure that your risk planning, your life, disability and critical illness planning is in place, and that you're on the right medical aid, and that your car is properly insured.
Yeah, risk planning, that's an important one. So a question in the audience has sort of made me spark this. Travel insurance. So the question is, are there opportunities for travel? So you did mention you've traveled extensively in South Africa. So I have two questions here. Let's start with the first one. Is there opportunity for overseas travel as a financial advisor?
No. South Africa works on a very straightforward. South Africa's insurance industry works very differently to the rest of the world's. So there aren't all that many synergies. If you get involved with a company like a Discovery, yes, there could be, but not that they're going to be sending a South African to America, to their American company, or to their UK company every second week. They have already got existing companies there that are doing their thing. They've got their specialists. So you could find yourself in a position where you could apply to go and work for that division of Discovery in America or in the UK, but not ongoing travel there and back.
Yeah. So you speak about the regulatory systems. It makes sense that, each country would have their own particular regulatory body in place. I know for a fact that if you do a law degree in South Africa, for example, you can't automatically, everyone knows this, you can't then go to England and practice with a South African law degree. Is this, I'm hearing regulatory bodies, is this the same thing then? If you've studied to be a financial advisor?
Exactly the same. What I've studied to be a financial advisor in South Africa is relevant to South Africa. If I were to go to America, I have to do something completely different there. The same for the UK. Australia, interestingly, has very, very little in the line of financial advisors. Everything there's an online system. So if you want a car insurance, it's like an OutSurance or something like that. Everything's call center driven over there, which I don't think leaves people getting the best of advice, but that's my opinion. I'll stop that there.
Didn't hear it here.
Exactly that. But yeah, no. So if you wanted to explore being a financial advisor in different areas in the world, you'd have to go out there and actually study something more relevant to
the
particular country you're interested in.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I don't know where this last half an hour has gone, Wesley.
It flew by.
If you don't mind, I might email you some questions. I'm sorry for the audience members. I haven't gotten to everything that you've asked me.
You're more than welcome to. I'll happily respond.
Thank you so much. There's quite a few like that I would have loved to actually say on the webinar, but time. So I just want to take this last few seconds and thank you very, very much for coming on to our webinar series this afternoon. This has been such a success. And it has been such a pleasure talking to someone who has just said it as it is. And we really, really appreciate it. We hope you've had a good time too.
I really have. Thank you so much for having me here. And it's been a pleasure sharing my pearls of wisdom with everybody, if we can call it that. But please send me those emails. I'll very happily respond to them. I'll just put a little clause in there and say it's not going to happen tomorrow. My diary is always very full, but I will respond to each and every one that you send on to me.
Oh, that is so fantastic. For everyone in the audience, if you still have the questions that I haven't gotten to, please just pop an email to support@gradlinc.co.za and then we can pass them on to Wesley. And thank you everyone who signed on. There's quite a few of you in the audience, so we wish you a good Monday evening.